Welcome to the webinar for today, and good evening to those people who are attending from this part of the world, and to good morning or good afternoon for people who are attending from the other parts of the world. So today we have with us Liz Woyczynski, who is the Director of Graduate Program at Case Western Reserve School of Law. She will be talking about the one very important question that every person who plans to do an LLM from US has on their mind: how to qualify as a lawyer, and how to write the New York bar exam, and how to get a license to practice law in the US. So she'll be talking about that today. And without further ado, I will pass on the presentation to her. Liz, thank you very much for joining us, and you can take it over from here.
Thanks, Vishnu. Hello. I'm happy to be with you today, my name is Liz Woyczynski, and I'm Director of Admissions and Student Services at Case Western Reserve University School of Law in the Office of Foreign Graduate Legal Studies. And the Office of Foreign Grad Legal Studies oversees both the Master of Laws, the LLM program, and the Doctor of Juridical Science, the SJD program. And today I will tell you a little bit about our LLM program, and I'll talk about how students at our law school, our LLM students and other LLM students at other U.S. law schools prepare for the New York bar in particular. A little bit about Case Western Reserve University School of Law. This year we were ranked among the top LLM programs in the United States by the publication called International Jurist. And we were ranked tops in both academics and student experience. Our law school faculty is ranked 25 in the United States for scholarly impact. That's for their research and publications and the number of times that their research is cited, showing the importance of their research. We're ranked in the top 10 in health law. We're ranked in the top 12 in international law. And we've been recognized for outstanding opportunities in practical training and in business law and IP law. And this year, in 2017, we had an outstanding result on our bar exam passage rate. 93% of the students who took the Ohio bar from our law school passed. It was the highest passing rate of any law school in Ohio. And the students who took the New York bar also did exceedingly well. So before I tell you more about our LLM program, I'm going to tell you a little bit about bar exams in the United States. In the United States, they're administered by the states. So each state, including our state of Ohio, has its own bar exam. And not all states allow LLM graduates, most of whom are international students, to take a U.S. bar exam. So we're fortunate to be in a state in Ohio that does allow LLM graduates to take the bar exam. We're also right next to New York. New York is just to our east. And that is the state that is most popular for any LLM graduate anywhere in the United States to take a bar exam. New York City has long been and still is a center for business, international business, and New York bar exam has been very open and easy for LLM students for a long time to qualify to take the bar exam. So our LLM graduates, they take the bar exam in Buffalo, New York, which is just a 2-hour drive from the law school. So the bar exam is just one of the things that you need to do to be admitted to the New York bar to practice law. in the state of New York. And there are many states that use a common sort of bar exam, and it's called the Universal Bar Exam, the UBE. And so you might hear those terms exchanged meaning the same thing, New York Bar Exam or UBE exam. So you have to take and pass the UBE exam, and the passing score on this universal exam as set by the state of New York is 266. The bar exam in the state of New York is offered in February and July. Also, to be admitted to the New York Bar, you need to take the multi-state professional responsibility exam. That's an exam on ethics in law. That's offered 3 times a year. And you also need to take an online New York law class. They monitor your taking that class and completing the class, and then you take the exam for the New York law, and that's offered several times a year too. You also need to do 50 hours of pro bono work. It's flexible for LLM students. That pro bono work could be completed a year before you enter an LLM program in the United States. It could be completed during your LLM in the United States, or even after you complete your LLM or pass the UBE exam. It's just something that you need to complete by the time you apply to be admitted to the New York Bar. There's a new requirement that's skills competency, and different law schools are meeting that requirement in different ways. Some of them are offering professional skills classes that students will take. Others will advise their LLM students to seek internship or externship opportunities while they're here. So that's something that you'll discuss with your LLM program. And character and fitness is the last thing. The law school, your LLM law school, and any employers that you've had will testify that you're a person of good character and of good, with good ethical values who will make a good lawyer. So that's what it takes to be admitted to the New York Bar. Qualifying to take a New York Bar exam, you do need to have a Master of Laws degree in the United States. That Master of Laws degree needs to be at least 24 credits, and they want you to take at least 2 credits of introductory, of an introduction to American law, 2 credits of legal writing, 2 credits of professional responsibility, and 6 credits of bar-tested subjects. And I'll show you those subjects in just a few minutes. You also need, of course, an undergraduate degree in law from another country. And the first step in qualifying to take the New York Bar is submitting your foreign academic credentials to be approved by the New York Bar. And that website there gives you all the instructions that you need to know about submitting your credentials. If you want to take a July bar exam, you need to submit your foreign educational credentials no later than October 1st, May 1st for a February bar exam. And it does take a few months to hear back from the New York Bar whether or not your foreign academic credentials have been approved. All documents must be sent directly to the New York Bar from your home country. So official transcripts and a degree certificate if necessary, proof of fulfillment of the educational requirements to practice law in your country, and proof that your undergraduate degree was completed at an approved or accredited law school in your country. So that's what you need to do to get ready for the New York Bar. And students do that often, sometimes even before they enroll in a fall semester LLM program. So they get their credentials in by October 1st, Generally, I find that our students here in April, hopefully that their foreign educational credentials have been approved, and then they finally do the final things. They submit their completed LLM transcripts when they graduate in May. There's an attendance form that our law school registrar fills out, and there's a handwriting form that you have to submit. And that's when you pay the fee to take the New York bar. There's no fee to get your foreign educational credentials approved by the New York bar. Preparing to pass the New York bar. So these are the subjects that I talked about earlier. You can read them here: business association, civil procedure, conflict of laws, etc. The starred subjects are the ones that are tested on more than one section of the New York bar, so those are especially important. At Case Western Reserve University School of Law, we recommend that students pursue our U.S. and Global Legal Studies LLM. It's our general LLM, and it's our most flexible LLM. There are some core LLM required classes, and then the rest of the requirements, up to 24 credits at least or more, allow you to choose any subject you want, and we suggest that students interested in taking a bar exam take as many bar-tested subjects as possible. If you're really interested in international business law, you can still take classes that are on the bar exam. For instance, BA, contracts, property, torts, secure transactions, and sales are different ways of meeting the requirements for the LLM in international business law, and still would give you a number of classes in bar-tested subjects. You might remember from the previous slide that you only have to take 6 credits in bar-tested subjects to qualify to sit for the New York bar, but of course to pass the bar you want to take as many bar-tested subjects as possible. And at Case Western Reserve University School of Law, we offer a class called Entering the Profession, and that's a way to prepare for the New York bar as well. Students do a lot of writing and get a lot of feedback on the structure of their answers and how to best make the arguments as they need to pass the bar exam. And then of course students buy prep aids. There's the NCBE, free study aids, Barbary, Themis, Kaplan, etc. that students purchase to prepare themselves for the bar exam. So that sort of covers a little bit about the bar exam, and I'm happy to answer any questions during or after the presentation. A little bit about our LLM degree programs. I mentioned the LLM in U.S. and Global Legal Studies and the LLM in International Business Law. We also offer an LLM in Intellectual Property Law and International Criminal Law. And you'll notice, you know, our rankings that I mentioned earlier, where we were noted for being among the top schools in international business and IP law and also international law. Our LLM programs reflect the strengths of our faculty in our law school, so that you'll get an excellent LLM education here. We also offer a very fine program at Master of Arts in Financial Integrity. I mentioned the SJD, which is equivalent to a PhD in law, and our Juris Doctor degree, of course, is our first degree in law that American students pursue after an undergraduate degree. So those are our law degrees here at Case Western Reserve University School of Law. A little bit about our LLM program. Again, we had a top-ranked LLM program in 2017 in academics and student experience. We also have a program called our Summer Language and Law Institute that's very popular. It's 4 weeks in July, and it's an excellent introduction to common law and how to read case law and how to analyze it and summarize it and write about it. So it's a wonderful transition for many students who have studied civil law. I also find that during that month that students are here, that it's great to have the time to settle into an apartment, to learn the campus, to sign up for classes early, learn the city, and that means that when classes start, they're really not scrambling to get all of these life details taken care of. So some students are admitted with the requirement to attend our summer program, but many students who are not required to attend anyway. And it's an independent program, so if you're just curious about studying law in the United States, you might just want to come for our Summer Language and Law Institute and earn a certificate for that month. Our LLM program also offers conditional admission if you're from a country where you haven't studied in English and you need time to improve your English credentials. We can admit you based on your undergraduate law degree credentials and say, and here's some extra time to meet the English requirements. I'll tell you later about our affiliation with ELS, an English language school on our campus. And we have flexibility. You can start in the fall or the spring semesters. Our LLM students, a few of them every year, they want to stay for a JD degree, and they can get some transfer credit from their LLM towards their JD degree. And some of them want to start an SJD degree. And it's definitely easier to qualify for admission for our JD and SJD programs if you've already graduated from our LLM program. We offer LLM students a lot of academic support. We have extra tutoring for our LLM students, and our university has a lot of international students, and the university offers to all international students, even those outside the law school, a spoken English language tutors program. Our law school attracts a lot of American students interested in international law because we're ranked in the top 12 in the United States in that area, and our American students are especially interested in meeting our LLM students from all over the world. We have an active coffee and culture conversation program with 1Ls. Those are our first year JD students. And we have JD mentors who are already second or third year JD students. And they organize off-campus activities for LLM students to show them all the wonderful things that there are to do in Northeast Ohio here. We have a vibrant city with many strong businesses and law firms. There's an active group called the Cleveland International Lawyers Group. There's the International Law section of the Cleveland Metropolitan Bar Association. And those two groups invite interested students to their presentations, and it's a great way to network with lawyers here in Cleveland that are practicing in international business law, IP law, international criminal law, etc. And our LLM advisory board is made up of lawyers in multinational corporations here in Northeast Ohio, or large law firms or small law firms who are eager to give LLM students a chance to get some internship or even externship experience while they're here in the United States. This is a picture of Cleveland, Ohio, where we're located. We are about 10 minutes outside of downtown Cleveland in an area called University Circle. The building with the fantastic roof there is the business school by a famous architect, Frank Gehry, and that green roof right next door is the law school. So, and you can see there Lake Erie in the background. This is where we're located in Ohio there, right on the Great Lakes there, close to the state of, close to western New York, there in Northeast Ohio.
Liz, if I can interrupt for 1 minute for a couple of questions that people have been asking, so would you be able to take it right now, or would you like to wait till the end?
No, I'll go ahead and do it now.
Perfect. So there is a question by Anu Bhattnagar, who has asked whether to appear for the New York bar exam, does one have to first have an LLM degree from US? Is that like a mandatory requirement?
Yes, it is. It is. You can submit your foreign educational credentials to be evaluated as being eligible for the New York bar before you've actually graduated from an LLM, but you have to have that experience in an accredited U.S. law school. Of course, you could get a 3-year JD degree, but you must have at least the 1-year 24-credit LLM degree in order to take the New York bar exam.
There is another question from Nupur Walia. She asks, like, would Case Western help in assisting the LLM students to choose from, different course providers are there for offering to support with the New York bar, like Barbary, Themis, and Kaplan, and all that. So, do you assist in choosing, or do you make any recommendation as to what to choose, and do you help with choosing from among the modules?
Yeah, actually many of those providers provide free support for the MPRE exam, that Multi-State Professional Responsibility exam. And that's a way during your LLM, a lot of our LLM students take the MPRE exam in March, I believe. And so that's a first kind of exposure that you can get to these different providers through the MPRE exam. And those representatives from those companies are always here at the law school a few times a month. And they set up tables, and it's an opportunity for our law students to talk with them and figure out what the support services are, how they're different, pricing, and that kind of thing. So it's not difficult. Of course, we leave the choice up to the students, but we're happy to talk with them, and we encourage them to talk with the representatives that are regularly at our law school.
Thank you, Liz. And there is one more, actually 2 more questions. In fact, one of them, I think you will be addressing it shortly. But again, if you can answer that question, it's with regard to the scholarship, and is there any financial aid or scholarship that is available in case people want to do an LLM from Case Western?
Yes, we do offer scholarships. They can range anywhere from $5,000 up to $20,000. They're awarded on the basis of academic merit, the grades that you've received in your undergraduate law degree, and also if you come from a country where we require TOEFL or IELTS, the strength of those scores are important for merit scholarship. There's no application for merit scholarship. You just have to apply for admission, and each and every applicant, when we consider them for admission, is automatically considered for scholarship at the same time.
Thank you, Liz. And there is a couple of more questions. Would you like to answer them right now, or do you want to wait? The question is regarding the bar exam documents, and
yeah, let's do that. Let's do that now. That's fine.
Okay. So Milind has asked this question, and I think that he has already done some research on the bar exam, and he has asked, like, for bar exam documents has to be submitted almost 8 months in advance. So does that mean that they have to wait for 8 months post completion of LLM to submit these documents?
Yeah, that's a great question. The 8 months is right. It's about 8 months, but You can submit those documents anytime. You can submit them even before you start the LLM. And as I said previously, that there's no charge for getting those credentials evaluated. And once you've gotten them evaluated once, you never have to get them evaluated again. So once those are approved, then you're ready to sign up for the bar exam whenever you're ready to sign up for it. So I think I talked earlier about how if you start an LLM program in the fall semester, there's an October 1 deadline for the July bar exam. So no, you don't need to complete the LLM. You can submit your credentials by that October 1 deadline. Then you'll wait, and by just before you finish your LLM, you'll finally hear from the New York Bar about your foreign educational credentials. But then you have a couple months just to finish the last couple steps by submitting your final transcript for your LLM degree. Or you may decide that you're not ready to take the bar exam in July and that you want to take it later in February or the following July, but your foreign educational credentials are already evaluated and ready to go. Does that answer the question, do you think?
I hope that answers your question, Milind. Yes, he says thanks. And there's a further question from Nupur who asks, like, will any summer course prepare us fully for any bar prep test subjected? So that means, like, is there any summer program that is available, or during the summer is there like any short program for which will fully prepare them for the bar exam?
No. The bar exam is a huge undertaking, and you know, the American law school students are preparing for 3 years to take a U.S. bar exam. So it's already quite a challenge for international students to come to the United States for a 1-year LLM and to get ready for a bar exam. So a number of our students have been successful, but a summer program is not enough. I was talking earlier about how important it was during the 2-semester LLM to take as many bar-tested subjects as possible. There's no substitute for taking the classes, taking the exams, those timed exams, final exams in those classes as excellent preparation for the bar exam. And the kind of study guides that you might purchase will refer to the learning that you've already done at the law school. So it supplements your legal education during your LLM year, but it's not a replacement for it.
I hope that answers your question, and there is 2 more questions. One is asked by Milind. Now Milind asked the question that you know, for a bar exam document and I mean for what is Milind's question here? Yeah, so he asked, like, sorry, it's not Milind, it's Mayank. Mayank, who has asked that how to prove that UG degree was completed at an approved. Okay, so he asked, like, how can you determine that the undergraduate degree in law has been completed at an approved law school in India? Because you know the bar exam, I mean the Bar Council of India has not updated its website in the past 4 years as to what is an approved law school, and that's actually a genuine question in terms of his concern. You know, so how can you determine that?
Sure. I believe that all you'd have to do is get a letter from an official at your school, maybe the dean or the provost, or that documents that indeed this law school is accepted as preparation to be admitted to the bar in India. So getting a degree from this law school. So if you got a letter from your law school in your country stating that, on letterhead sent from the school directly to the New York bar, that should make the case.
I hope that answers your question, Mayank. And there is also a question from Milan who asked, like, is the TOEFL score mandatory for this for the LLM admission, or do you do any waivers for the TOEFL?
We do. At Case Western Reserve University School of Law, we don't require TOEFL or IELTS for students educated in India, and maybe a few other countries around the world. But of course, for most countries, students from most other countries are required to submit TOEFL or IELTS. And we do have a conditional admission agreement available with our English language school called ELS that's on the Case Western Reserve campus. And students who graduate from level 109 or 110 from that English language school don't have to take TOEFL or IELTS. Those students are very well prepared to start our law school based on their ELS education.
I hope that answers your question. And there is also one more question, whether cyber law is available as a subject for cyber law. Is like IT related laws, is something similar, is available as a subject for as a specialization for LLM.
We do. We do offer classes in cyber law, and that is generally, that's an elective course of study within the LLM for IP law. So you can't really get an LLM specifically in cyber law. You can in the more general IP law, but there is coursework that you can take in cyber law towards that LLM degree.
Thank you, Liz. I think that's about it with the questions for now. Maybe if there are more questions, then I'll interrupt you during the presentation, or we'll wait till the end.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to flip quickly through some slides here that just give you a sense of our campus and our city and our place in Northeast Ohio there, and downtown Cleveland. Playhouse Square is the second largest concentration of theaters in the U.S. And it's a great place to go downtown. It's about, I don't know, a 10-minute drive on public transit, on our public transit rail from the law school down to the theater district. We have great restaurants in downtown Cleveland. Some famous chefs are from and working in Cleveland. We're located right on Lake Erie, and there's a famous river, Cuyahoga River, that's quite lovely now, where there's restaurants and outdoor theaters along the Cuyahoga River that flows into Lake Erie. These are the beaches along Lake Erie. You can see the Cleveland skyscrapers in the background there. Cedar Point Amusement Park, which is one of the largest amusement parks in the United States, is just a couple hours west of Cleveland, right on Lake Erie. They say you can see Canada from the top of those roller coasters. They're so tall, but you're going so fast. I don't think that's true. We're in University Circle is the name of our neighborhood, and there in red is circled the law school. But University Circle is not just Case Western Reserve University. There's Cleveland Institute of Art and Cleveland Institute of Music, separate schools where students are getting bachelor's and graduate degrees in those schools. And it's a collection of cultural institutions that are really wonderful and are literally, as you can see, right across the street from the law school. And it's really a wonderful neighborhood. The Cleveland Museum of Art is one of the most highly regarded art museums in the United States, and it's free all the time. So students, anyone can walk in for free, and they have wonderful exhibits. And every Friday night they have a mixer. A lot of young people from Cleveland go in that atrium there, and they have music, and the art museum's open late. It's lovely. And this is a view of the art museum from in front of the lagoon. The Botanical Gardens is directly across from the law school. It's a great place when you're feeling like you need a study break and to de-stress a little bit, just to walk around Cleveland Botanical Gardens. And just down the street from the law school, not even a block, is Severance Hall, the home of Cleveland Symphony Orchestra. Again, one of the best regarded orchestras of classical music, obviously, in the United States, and it has a lovely, lovely concert hall that's quite beautiful. And students get discounts, significantly discounted tickets to their performances. So these are the great things that you can do when you have some free time. The Natural History Museum is part of University Circle, and this uptown shopping area and apartments, and the Contemporary Museum of Art is just around the corner of the law school, and that's where students walk to inexpensive restaurants, housing in Little Italy very nearby, and shops. So I just wanted to show you quickly some of our outstanding LLM alumni from Canada, who was elected to the as a representative to the House of Commons, a faculty member at University of Melbourne, teaching law in Australia, Monica, who is a partner at Baker Hostetler here in Cleveland, and that's one of the largest law firms in the United States, and it's based here in Cleveland. Suvik is another LLM graduate, and he is a professor, an associate professor of law at JIS University in Kolkata. And Anand Bhushan is another LLM graduate who just recently won the Technology Lawyer of the Year from the Indian Bar Association. What a great honor for him. And some LLM alumni from China. Daniel is an associate at Zhonglong Law Firm, and one of the top law firms in China. And here's another young man who's a business partner already at Deheng Law Office, again, another top law firm in China. In addition to some wonderful things, all the cultural institutions near the law school, we have some awesome sports teams. The Cavaliers won the NBA championships, and LeBron James is our hometown basketball player who grew up here in Cleveland, and it's very popular here, and our Cleveland Indians baseball. So I'd like to go over LLM admission requirements quickly. I talked about how you can start your LLM degree in fall or spring. These are the deadlines. There are two ways to apply for admission. You can apply through the online application through the Law School Admissions Council, or you can email our PDF application for LLM admission. And that way, if you use our PDF application, there's no application fees. We evaluate the applications on a rolling basis, so you will get an admission decision within a week of completing your application for LLM admission. So in addition to the application, you just need to provide your transcript, meaning your grade reports from your undergraduate law degree, a personal statement, and 2 letters of recommendation. And these English requirements. So TOEFL and IELTS is not required of Indian applicants for the LLM degree at Case Western Reserve University School of Law. ELS Cleveland is for English as a second language instruction. It's a 5-minute walk from the law school. We admit students conditionally and say, okay, your undergraduate law degree credentials are strong, but here's a little extra time now to bring your English language skills up to speed. And you can do that by studying at ELS Cleveland and graduating from their level 109 class, getting a 70 on the TOEFL, and attending our Summer Language and Law Institute, or getting a 6.0 on the IELTS. Students who score higher on TOEFL or IELTS are not required to attend the Summer Language and Law Institute. And students who score higher, 90 on TOEFL or 6.5 or 7 on IELTS, qualify for scholarship assistance. So that wraps up my presentation. And you can email me anytime at llmsjd@case.edu. Again, my name is Liz Woyczynski, and I'm Administrative Director of Admissions and Student Services and Foreign Grad Legal Studies for our LLM and SJD programs. Are there any more questions?
Yes, Les, there are a couple of more questions. One is asked by Nupur again, and she asked, like, with reference to the proof of fulfillment of practice of law in your country, will a copy of the bar certificate which is sent directly to them be enough, or is there any special letter that is required from the Bar Council of their respective state?
Yeah, you do not have to be admitted to the bar in your country to sit for a U.S. bar exam, but if you have already been, then that sort of bar certificate will suffice, and that's all you have to send. But if you're not yet in that position, you just need a letter from, again, the highest academic official at your school that would say that, yes, this degree from this particular school would be recognized as the correct requirement that would be needed to practice law in this country.
I hope that answers your question. And now there are two questions from Sukanya. Now she asks, if she does not want to practice as an attorney, is it compulsory to sit for the bar exam? Like, if she wants to work as an in-house counsel in some companies in the US, does she still have to sit for the bar exam?
Generally, yes. There are ways to work as legal assistants or paralegal, but generally, even to work as an in-house counsel within the United States, companies will expect you to have passed a bar exam. There are, of course, many opportunities while you're an LLM student. You haven't yet sat for the bar exam to get some professional experience, but certainly to stay here and to get a job in the legal field, it's all, you really have to have passed a bar exam eventually to stay in the legal profession.
Another question is from Sarthak, and he asks, like, after the submission of the application, will there be a Skype interview to consider the application, or do you evaluate it purely based on what has been written in the application form and in the supporting documents?
Yes, we do Skype interviews. Actually, we do them at the time of admission. So we will do that, a Skype interview, yeah, just as really to let you know that you've been admitted and to answer any questions that you may have about our LLM program.
I hope that clears your doubt. And there's another question from Milind, who asks, what is the approximate placement? So he asked, like, does everyone from the LLM gets placement, or is in employment immediately after graduation? And what stream of the LLM program, or what specialization of the LLM program has the maximum number of opportunities post the LLM?
Yeah, so Yeah, so I think the most popular degrees are really the international business law degree and then the intellectual property degree. And certainly I think there are probably the most opportunities for LLM students in international business law. Not all of our students are interested in getting internship or externship experiences here, but I would say most of the students, it might not be 100%, but I would say 80% as a guesstimate, 70 or 80% of the students who would like to find an internship or externship do find some kind of work experience before they return home. So you asked about job placement, and yes, most students do return home, and yes, many students, 100% of them find jobs at home. The job placement rate with an LLM degree from the United States makes them very marketable. It is a challenge to find work experience here in the United States as an intern or extern, but we do help you with that, and we have the LLM advisory board here that at our law school that helps students connect with local, as I say, multinational corporations, law firms, city legal offices, etc., and courts where students can get some practical experience before they head home.
There is one follow-up question. It's very similar to what you have just answered, but I think the first part is already answered, but it's asked by Nupur again, and she asked, like, you know, does the do you have a career office which helps with finding adequate opportunities, externships or internships or pro bono opportunities that's available?
We do. We have an active career development office, and they take an active role in helping students craft resumes in the typical style that U.S. employers expect. Might be different than the style that you're used to from your home country. We help students set up LinkedIn profiles, and then the CDO office offers practice interviews where you can be interviewed on tape or by a member of the CDO staff, and you can examine your answers to commonly asked questions in job interviews. And for us here at Case Western Reserve University, our LLM advisory board is made up of lawyers who are in-house counsel at local businesses and multinational corporations, law firms, city legal offices, etc. And they are very supportive and excited about our international LLM students, and do offer them the internship and externship opportunities that our LLM students are looking for.
Thank you, Liz. And there is also a question like, is there an LLM available in sports law?
We do have a program in sports law. It is a summer program, and certainly if you're interested in that, I would recommend that you email me. It is something that you could specialize in through the LLM in U.S. and Global Legal Studies. And then what you would do is you would take at least 10 credits of classes in sports law related subjects, and you could get an LLM in U.S. and Global Legal Studies with a certificate of concentration in sports law. So again, like there was a question about cyber law earlier. Sports law in and of itself is not an LLM degree, but there is coursework that you can pursue towards a certificate of concentration in that area.
I hope that answers your question, Sarvesh. And I think that's it with the questions so far. We have that's it with the questions. Like all the attendees have asked, you've answered almost all the questions. So if you do have any question to attendees, if you do have any questions, you can type them out over here, and I can ask her immediately. If not, we can conclude the webinar. But Liz, do you have anything further to add on to the presentation? Is there anything further that you would like to share with the attendees? Or to the listeners?
Just that I encourage you to contact me by email, the one that's listed right there, llmsjd@case.edu. Our next application deadline is April 1st for the fall semester, and I can take questions about our LLM program or our standalone summer institute as well. So I welcome the opportunity to correspond with you.
So there is one further question right now. It's asked by Sukanya, who asked, is there any summer program on immigration laws?
We don't have a summer program on immigration law, but we have several classes in immigration law offered at the law school. And certainly there are several opportunities in immigration law in Cleveland to do internship and externship. One of them is with an LLM graduate who is from India, who is practicing immigration law in Cleveland. And again, kind of like the sports law that I talked about earlier, you could get the general LLM degree in U.S. and Global Legal Studies with a certificate of concentration in immigration law, but there's no summer program in immigration law.
Sukanya, I hope that clears it. Okay, yeah, I think that's fine. So thank you so much, Liz. So and thank you to all the attendees who have joined us today. So if there is any further questions, you can reach out to Liz directly on llm-sjd@case.edu. So thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to interacting with you again very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.